always wanna take off.
Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off. Yeah, I done seen too many friends turn straight to foes, shake it cold. I done been down this lonely road many times before. I swear I'ma get this shit, I'm striking like a lightning bolt. They can't stop me, man, cause I run this now like the CEO. I get paid to take time off, I'm feeling like this PTO. I get this money, I'm feeling like a GI, how I go. Flyer than an astronaut, don't know what planet I might go. All I know is I'm a hustler no matter where I go. Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Yeah, we getting paper out this bitch, yeah, taking off like a freight train out this bitch. Get off my track, don't get derailed, running with my clique. See, I'm all about that M-O-N-E while we super rich, Gangster from the sideline, pimpin', got me riding in my Lexus window tinted. Mind your business while we all up in the club, turned on bottles, plenty in it. While you looking at me stupid, cause we spending pretty penny.
Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off. Yeah.
Sway, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah. Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Shorty twerking in the air, I thought she about to take off. DJ played this in the club, I know we about to take off. Light catches on my hand and rich, I'm about to take off. Act a fool in my city, boy, you better take off. If you ain't playing hits like this, you need to take the day off. Spotters round here don't ever miss, don't make us take off. We get it out the mud every day like it's a playoff. When the girls hit us in the club, they always want to take off.
Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off. Yeah, I done seen too many friends turn straight to foes, shake it cold. I done been down this lonely road many times before. I swear I'ma get this shit, I'm striking like a lightning bolt. They can't stop me, man, cause I run this now like the CEO. I get paid to take time off, I'm feeling like this PTO. I get this money, I'm feeling like a GI, how I go. Flyer than an astronaut, don't know what planet I might go. All I know is I'm a hustler no matter where I go. Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, Yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Yeah, we getting paper out this bitch, yeah, taking off like a freight train out this bitch. Get off my track, don't get derailed, running with my clique. See, I'm all about that M-O-N-E while we super rich, Gangster from the sideline, pimpin', got me riding in my Lexus window tinted. Mind your business while we all up in the club, turned on bottles, plenty in it. While you looking at me stupid, cause we spending pretty penny.
Flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit the gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off, take off. Yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off. Yeah.
Sway, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah. Flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit the gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off, take off. Yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Shorty twerking in the air, I thought she about to take off. DJ played this in the club, I know we about to take off. Light catches on my hand and rich, I'm about to take off. Act a fool in my city, boy, you better take off. If you ain't playing hits like this, you need to take the day off. Spotters round here don't never miss, don't make us take off. We get it out the mud every day like it's the playoffs. When the girls hit us in the club, they always wanna take off.
Flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit the gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off, take off. Yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off. Yeah, I done seen too many friends turn straight to foes, shit get cold. I done been down this lonely road many time before. I swear I'ma get this shit, I'm striking like a lightning bolt. They can't stop me, man, cause I run this now like the CEO. I get paid to take time off, I'm feeling like this PTO. I get this money, I'm feeling like a GI, how I go. Flyer than an astronaut, don't know what planet I might go. All I know is I'm a hustler no matter where I go. Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit the gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Yeah, we getting paper out this bitch, yeah, taking off like a freight train out this bitch. Get off my track, don't get derailed, running with my clique. See, I'm all about that M-O-N-E while we super rich, Gangster from the sideline, pimpin', got me riding in my Lexus window tinted. Mind your business while we all up in the club, turned on bottles, plenty in it. While you looking at me stupid, cause we spending pretty penny.
Flyer than the pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit the gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off.
We get the scripts of the day of the moon.
The music is off and we are live. And make sure that you can hear. But we are live.
Can you get
we are live.
Oh yeah. What's up with all my peoples out there? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It on Friday.
Yes.
The women on Wednesdays will be wilding out.
And with the messy man
Man
from
on
Mondays.
You know what I mean? It's going down. Shout out to Worldwide. Shout out to Store Quality. Shout out to Busy One. Shout out to Day to Day. Let's talk about it on Friday. Shout out to Men's Motivational Monday. Shout out to Women's Wednesday. We out here. Check me out. King David.
You're the one and only. What's up? Dre Holland Comedy, what up with it, y'all?
Oh, Shani gonna have to lean back because she all in the camera.
All you see is her head.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, we gonna have to.
Let me know I can't look.
All right, that's good.
Right there.
Hold on. No. It gotta go some more. It gotta go.
There you go.
It gotta go. No. It gotta go the other way. Gotta go the other way.
Other way.
Right
other
there.
Way.
No.
Other way.
Sam is going the right way.
But you cutting off.
That's fine. Right there. There. That's where it was. It was like right there.
There you go. Right there. Don't
Yeah,
move it.
it's right there. What's up? Let me grab Sam up. Hey,
What's up?
Put your phone on mute real quick and then we're gonna come to you to introduce yourself, Greg.
Okay. All right.
In the building. Hold on. Greg on the phone, right? He on live. Okay, so we got a lot of people here tonight.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah. So, of course, I'm Hosh in the building.
I'm Elle.
I'm Crystal.
I'm Sister Tamar. Nitra.
It's going down. You see
Okay. Oh, and we got Dale Sam in the building.
Uh-huh.
And I gotta put this disclaimer up before we even start. All right. So, because
Disclaimer for Day-to-Day Podcast. The opinions, submissions, and topics discussed on the Day-to-Day Podcast are solely those of the individuals expressing them. They do not reflect the brand integrity of Day-to-Day, and the brand does not persuade or influence anyone's perspective. This podcast is intended for a mature audience only. Please be advised that participation in any topic discussed on the podcast may lead to your perspective being respectfully challenged. However, it will never be addressed personally. We do not tolerate any disrespect or personal attacks during discussions. Furthermore, we reserve our rights without prejudice or recourse. Parental advisory is encouraged for all listeners. Thank you for watching.
Who is that? Can we get a black
I mean, I could do it. I'm gonna be honest. With this situation, I was working on it for the longest, trying to figure it out. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be revised. I don't care who it is, but it's gonna be revised. This is just what I got when I was able to figure it out, and I still don't even know. So when I go back, I'm gonna revise some stuff. So at the end of the day, this is what we got tonight.
Mind the building.
Yes. Oh, okay. So I already know. I got it. I don't need nobody revising it, Mom. No, I'm saying you wouldn't know what I did and what it was, what I'm doing. So you wouldn't know. I have to train you. I have to train you. I would have to train you, Ma. So I'll let you know. I'm telling her she don't have a clue what I did. So I'm saying I'll train you, Ma. I will. So, okay. So we have our moderator in the building. She's gonna start it off.
Yeah.
And the show is Voice of the Genders.
Okay.
And it's a co-ed podcast, our first co-ed podcast with the men versus the women, but we're gonna be positive. We're not gonna be disrespectful to each other, but it's gonna get heated because I like to be messy. So that's all I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay.
Who won't smoke with me? Who won't smoke with me? Okay. Who won't smoke with me?
Okay, so listen, you introduce yourself and everybody else introduce themselves, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm driving. First off, all praises, family, everybody. It's Greg.
We got
All
Greg.
praises. Yeah, all praises, all praises.
Just know how to act.
I'll be pulling over in a few minutes, and I'll pick with everybody. Give me 1 second.
Put it on mute too. You silly, yeah. And then you, yay. We can't even see you. But anyway, go ahead and start it off of what you got. Moderator, and Shan in the building. Shani in the building. She's the moderator tonight.
And we got Solomon in the building.
Oh, did you? He didn't introduce himself?
No.
Oh, go ahead, Sally.
Oh, I'm Solomon.
Who you can't do?
He said,
I want to take credit.
Israel.
Yeah.
you can't really see him. You can just see him.
Yeah, you can
They
see
got
him on that one.
Oh.
Yeah, when he start talking, it goes on him. We got 3 cameras.
So to start this off, we got a lightning debate question. And the question is, 2 people live together but aren't married. One earns more than the other. If the higher earner has been covering most of the bills in the relationship, should they continue to provide financial support? Yes or no?
She hit us with that one quick. Who going first on that?
Looking at me, you passing the mic to me.
Ladies first.
Okay. Okay, so go ahead, repeat it one more time.
That was already hard to do the first
You
time.
just shorten it. I mean, you can shorten it up. Just get
No,
the.
I got this. 2 people live together. They not married. One earns more than the other. If the higher earner is covering most of the bills in the relationship ends, should they continue to provide financial support? Yes or no? Why or why not?
All right. So no. No.
Can we get clarity, or are they still staying together?
No,
They're not together no more. That's why I wanted to hear it.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Are they? Do it say they together or say they not together?
They say the relationship ends, but they don't say if they separated households.
They're not married.
It don't say. Okay, so let's pick one of them. They're not together, but they stand together.
But they still share households.
Right. If they're still sharing households, then you don't have no other choice but to do it. But if you're not there, then no, I'm not gonna do absolutely nothing. I don't care if you homeless on the street. I'm not gonna do shit for you if we not together. Like, you can't expect me to give you none of my cash or none of my money. So anyway, next.
It becomes a business. Since they're not
a partnership.
It becomes a business.
They not married though.
Okay,
Yeah, but it's still
they
you become
have
roommates.
responsibilities.
It depends on
So it
depends on their inner workings. You know what I'm saying? You just get real basic information. Do they have children together? Is someone, you know what I'm saying, needing assistance? You know what I'm saying? It's okay to help a person get on their feet, or you have
Mom, we
are you helping them get on their
that.
feet and then leaving them on? Or y'all still stand. You know, it all depends on the situation, because if it say the man is the breadwinner, do he take the kids and you go ahead and try to get it out the mud, out the streets? The same thing with the dude is you know what I'm saying, you just gonna kick him out. What if he ain't got nowhere to go? What if he got no family?
Get out. Ma, you wanna go? You wanna go?
I'll take that.
I'm being silly though.
I think that he needs to
I ain't
take
been in
care
a
of
situation.
himself. She needs to take care of herself.
Right.
That's how I feel. If they're in the same household, he needs to continue to store.
Yeah, but you don't need to be in the
Especially
same
if they
house.
have children. Especially if they have children.
I disagree with that, because if you have children and you're in a household that's not working and it's not good, you shouldn't be in it, because they don't do nothing but hurt the children. So why stay in it if you not getting along and y'all got this separation and this energy in the house? Why have the kids around it? I disagree with that totally. I feel like somebody
disagree with that one, right? Before you disagree with that one, we're talking about hypothetical, and we're talking about they broke up. Yeah. But evidently they stay in the same household because somebody can't move out. And if y'all want to bring children involved, yeah, it's good to separate. It's not.
We'll go put my glasses on this one.
Okay, so let's not talk over each other. So we gonna go around and everybody say they parts of what they feel about it, and it got to be at least 45 seconds. It can't be no longer than 45 seconds.
Hey, real quick, I didn't really get a chance to hear what y'all was talking about because I was driving. So what is the topic about?
Well, the topic is voices of the genders, right? The topic is voices of the genders. So we doing men versus the women, okay?
Right.
And we have a narrator, Shani, in the background. She's gonna do a game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But she asked one of the questions. What is it called? The question? She asked a lightning debate question. Is what it's called off rip. And the question was, if y'all living together,
Not married.
go ahead and say shit.
Two people living together but aren't married. One earns more than the other. If the higher earner.
Turn the volume up for me.
It's already up.
Oh, tell her quit whispering then. Don't be scared to say it.
Okay, well, let you finish this right here, Greg. We're gonna skip you. Go around and say what you're gonna say real quick about that situation.
For me, I think it becomes a roommate situation. Because they may be in a lease, and when you're in a lease, you're already financially responsible one way or the other. So for me, it's an easy 50-50. Everybody continue to pay the bills, and once the lease ends, then that's a different topic.
Okay. I follow you now.
I made some.
Let me put it on mute right quick, family. Hold on.
No, because it don't be loud enough. It's everybody around, so we want to get everybody on. So what you say, cuz?
No, if y'all living together, and like you said, it's a roommate situation, pay your part, do your part, and just let it be. When it's time to separate, go your way, go your way. There's no point for the drama. If y'all can be civil, be civil. If you can't, then you need to go. There's no point in
Urban, I agree with him too. But
I agree.
Now wait a minute. What? You looking at me like that?
You already irritated. That's why
I didn't even know he popped up.
Me either.
He finna give us a jam.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Bust it loose. Bust it loose.
I started this. Y'all ain't nothing without me. Y'all ain't nothing without me. I started this. All right, Nino.
Get your ass down, Otis.
Ain't nobody came to see you. Yeah. Ain't nobody come to see you.
Oh, I messed it up.
Oh.
Ain't nobody came to see you. Oh, yeah, I'm fucking it up. Okay, keep it going, man.
But yeah, I agree with Kev 100%. You know, like until things get better on either or side and they able to actually leave their environment and do for themselves, yeah. But the kids ain't got nothing to do with that. So if the kids is involved, you're gonna have to take care of them kids regardless.
If somebody do something to me, I'm out of that motherfucker. I don't give a fuck what the fuck going on. Keep it going.
I said.
Well, it's not feasible to think like that. If you get in a certain situation, depends on the situation.
Man, you beat everybody down.
I was in that situation, but when I when I found mine, I ain't help her with hers, and she don't help me with mine, but we take care of the kids together.
Yep.
Y'all adding to the equation, though. It didn't mention children.
It didn't say
Right.
Y'all changing the entire question.
I run it back. I left the house. I stopped saying her.
Let's say it like this. Look, if there's kids involved or there's not kids, it's a tumultuous relationship from the start. Y'all living in the same house, and y'all could just coexist it for real. Because you either living in a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom. You either gonna upgrade or you gonna downgrade. But the split must happen, and it must happen as soon as possible. So I agree with Hosh. Hosh is correct.
And it's actually a hypothetical question.
It is.
Absolutely. Right.
It is. That's why everybody can put their own spin to it, and that's why it's called debate, and that's why it's the debate, the voice of the genders. So everybody's gonna say what they say. It's cool. I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
Damn, go ahead. You need to, simply because I think if you in a household with a man and y'all are partnering together, and if there are youth in that household, he needs to continue to pay just like she's gonna pay. But they need to be working on going separate ways.
Yeah.
I've been in a situation. I was married, but I've been in a situation. But I had 4 children. You were one of them. Right. And that was very difficult because we were in a tumultuous relationship. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to stay in a tumultuous relationship with children. So I didn't do that. I left and split. I left. But if you got children, you got to think always about them. Because they come first.
So that means don't stay in it.
Yeah, but
I just said.
She just said.
Of course I get the point. I'm
That ain't
doing what I always do.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna debate, and I'm gonna say what I want to. That's everybody know that's what I do.
Next question.
So,
I'm not even here. I'm not even here.
Of course I
you don't want to smoke.
I don't want this energy right now. I'm so tired. Flag on the play. You know what I'm saying?
Of course I get the point.
And let y'all be.
So what's the next question, Shani?
Yeah, keep it going.
I think the women's supposed to be.
I thought they would get.
No, we got a game.
I'm about to leave.
Do the game, Shannon. Do the game, Shannon.
Game.
He said, I go pick my kids up. I'm stuck. I can't go nowhere.
You stuck.
So
I got cameras on both sides of a nigga and in front of me.
I'll wait.
And 3 people jump over.
Class.
You want to make Greg answer?
Nah, the host
No,
is saying.
it's already yours. Man, I don't want no smoke. I'm in the smoke. Like, I'm.
He's the narrator.
Let me get my. Hey, let's
Time for the narrator to speak. Go ahead, get into it. Just speak a little loud when you talk.
I'm just waiting on the class to settle down.
That's awesome.
We ain't gonna get none of these questions. It's gonna be
Man.
I'm sitting back and enjoying it. This is beautiful.
We got one rowdy student.
This is continuous. Continue.
All right. So, I believe the game is called He Said / She Said Money and Relationships.
Oh, that's good.
And how to play. Teams split into men versus women. I asked a scenario question. An example is, if your partner makes $6,000 more a year, should they pay majority of the bills? Yes or no? Each team secretly votes yes or no on a card or paper.
Nope.
And then we
I agree with
Wait,
that.
hold on.
Talk to him.
Wait. Let me finish reading it. Okay, so let him finish reading it.
Nope.
Go ahead.
Nope.
I thought it said per month.
I should have made it straight.
it say per month after that, so I'm gonna switch it to per month. It does say it just messed. It's a typo right there.
Okay, per month, not years.
Per month.
$6,000 per year ain't that. We saying per month. They make
Yeah, that's the typo. I'm reading what the paper said.
Right, but okay.
Okay, so we gonna say $6,000 more per month, not year. Anyways, silence, please, you guys. I'm nervous reading this paper, and everybody keep interrupting me, and I just can't. So
Makes you strong.
now we debate. Each side gets 45 seconds. Oh wait, Each team secretly votes yes or no on a card or a paper. And then we debate. Each side gets 45 seconds to defend their choice. The opposing team gets 30 seconds to rebuttal. Let the audience / listeners decide which side had the best rebuttal, men or women. And then the question is now. This is why don't do that part.
It's about the $6,000.
What? 45 seconds. Oh, shit.
We get the point of the question, so we gonna go first. All right. So
tell y'all how to play
first. We gonna let the men go first.
Wait, I gotta ask the question.
Oh, you didn't ask the question yet?
No.
I thought we fine. Me too.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Silence. All right. The question is. Your partner makes $6,000 more a month than you. Should the majority of the household bills, yes or no? Wait. And it says who should pay on the first date if
no, that's the second question. We gotta do the first one.
Oh, my bad. It was one in bold.
So we gotta say yes or no. Okay, so
Want me to start the timer? I got my clock set 45 seconds.
Okay, so I'll start with you, Sam. I'm gonna say this about that. Just because they make 6,000 more doesn't mean that they ain't got more bills.
We had to vote as a
They may have more. They may have more bills like that they're paying separate than me.
Hold on. Can we answer the question?
Okay, go ahead.
I thought the men was answering.
I thought you had a vote.
No, you said the men. We gotta vote yes. What we feel about the question? Yes or no?
Y'all gotta approve.
We gotta vote as a group, right?
Y'all see that?
So what do y'all feel as one?
That's mine.
Yeah, y'all vote by yourself. That's why y'all got y'all papers
like,
and
yeah.
pencils.
I got yeah.
It's a game. Okay,
If
so
I make one, yeah.
go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
If I make one,
Yeah,
And you gonna pay majority of them bills in the house plus your other side bills too?
if I make one, I'm able to do it.
Them gonna be my only bills. I ain't have no other bills. I ain't have no other bills besides those.
Like, I pay a bill. You
No
better
other
not
tricking.
do anything else.
I ain't doing no other tricking. We just doing those bills.
So your answer was what, Kev?
I said yeah.
But
If I
it also say $6,000 more. That means you don't even know how much.
She
they
could be
make
making
their
her
first
bread
anyway.
too, but it's like if I still make.
She make 10,000. You make 16,000 a month.
Basically.
Yeah, man, she ain't got to worry about no bills. We ain't got to worry about bills. Shit, I make 16 grand. Ooh. She good.
It's gonna be a hard no for me.
Attaboy.
I'm doing what I'm doing. You doing what you doing. I don't know what all bills entitled on your end. You don't know all my bills that's on my end. Majority of my money may be to these bills over here that's on my end because my expenses are a little more heavier than yours. So at this time frame, I'm going to stick with what the hard no because we gonna save how we save. If I wasn't making this much money, you wouldn't be expecting me to pay half. I mean, not pay half on the bills.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Wait, what's your shit on you?
The reason why I say that is this. Let's say I make 16 grand. She makes 10, right? Okay. Now, we ain't finna have no other bills outside of those. You better not have no more bills.
I mean, he might come to the table with child support, and he got to pay that bill on his end. You got to think about everything. It all up. She might come with credit card debt.
But
that you got to add shit up.
I'm gonna
you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna say no.
Here's the thing.
I'm gonna say no.
That's
because whatever the bills was before my raise, they still the same.
That part.
So don't expect nothing different. Like
bills fluctuate, but keep it going.
Yeah, they fluctuate, but I'm not about to pay more. I mean, we already
must get paid.
That can be the same. They're gonna get paid now. We got it a whole year.
Let me ask you. If
you
was
already
already making that money,
yeah, we already paying together anyway.
But if you was already making that money, period, and you was already taking care of the bills, that wouldn't even been the question if you was already handling your business like it is.
That part.
Like if I'm already handling mortgage, whatever, and whatever is my side. This is all I've been doing since the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
So why am I tripping about this?
Never tripping.
I don't see the problem. I just handle my business. Just it.
I love that.
We together.
Yeah.
I mean, if you earned that loyalty, that respect, I'm gonna give you that. That's me.
Now, if them bills fluctuate, okay, I'll help out a little bit more on those bills that fluctuate. But don't expect that every month.
Now, if you
create, you can get $5 again.
Well, so now if my partner create her own new bills, then them yours because that's your responsibility. You wanted to take that on. Be a big girl because you wanted that, right?
See, and not giving her.
I'm all right with that because I'm not paying for that. That's your flex.
But at the same time, am I not giving you that ability to do that by making the extra and doing that?
So I feel that I'm gonna go let Sam go. Go ahead.
What?
I said, but I'm saying, what you feel about it?
Me?
I'm saying
I think
what you saying. I get what you saying though, Solomon. Who next, man?
Sam having with
Sam or Greg?
Wait a minute, let me get Greg on mute. Because he was saying little comments. Go ahead, Greg. What's your
Hold on, give me 1 second, yo. I had to respond to my message, but I feel like the bills was the bills before we even got the goddamn raise. So if we already had a game plan, let's stick to the game plan and just start building the money. So if there is a rainy day, then we already have some shit to work with. Ain't no need of just going out there and just throwing everything, you know what I mean? Just because I'm making more, you making more. No, we're going to keep the system as the system. If it's already been working, ain't no need of switching it up because that's when it starts being confused and then folks start feeling like you're entitled to do things. I'm not entitled and neither are you. So therefore, let's just keep our bills the way we had them when we first moved in together. Now, the first topic that she was talking about when she said something like how you be living in the house with somebody and y'all supposed to be a team. Now, if you got a lease, you got to remember that lease got to be fulfilled. You can't just you can't jump ship like that unless you're willing to pay rent there and there. So, just deal with it. Ride the wave. Become a team. Y'all ain't got to let it go. I mean, you ain't got to be a couple. Just be a hell of a team. Finish strong. When that lease over with, part ways.
Fuck that lease. It's going on the credit. I'm gonna pay it later. You hear me?
Oh, okay. Well, teach his own.
Anyway, I'm saying if it's a messed up situation, I'm saying because y'all put y'all little spin on it, I'm gonna put my spin on it. If it's a situation where I need to leave and there's some shit going on, I'm not staying there. It doesn't matter who's on the lease. Somebody gotta go. And the kids gonna stay with y'all, stay with you.
Hey, then that's when you get your hotel every now and again, just so you can ease your mind.
Next one.
All right. We never answered. The men answered, but go ahead.
Go ahead. I was answering the question about what question you talking about?
Y'all say please spend 30 minutes on each question. We never gonna get through this.
I said that. Go ahead.
Lee, just go
to the next question.
Next question.
I thought the women was gonna say
Oh, no. Next question.
That's what
That's all right. Next question.
Next question.
never asked.
Who should pay on the first date if both have good jobs?
I mean, it's the voice of the genders. That's what this is about. We want to know
who should pay on the first
Both
date.
got good jobs.
And I'm gonna go. Okay, y'all. I'm the narrator. Please be silent.
I think women should.
The women should go first, and then the men can go.
Okay.
It's only 5 questions, so she can skip that, or we could.
Y'all want to answer that?
Answer that. I'm curious.
Who should pay for men or women on first date? I'm not
asking.
No. Who? I agree with that, but it say who should pay on the first date if both have good careers.
I'm gonna say a man, and I stand on that.
Women should.
I'm a firm believer that the man set the tone for the relationship. And I feel like if you go into the first date as if you want to be cared for, then
you're a bitch.
It's not gonna work. There are some women who like to cater and care for their man, which nothing's wrong with that.
But like
however,
saying,
I do feel that it's a man's job to continue to be the hunter. Men are hunters at nature. So nothing's changing from a first date. Your first date, you're still hunting that woman because you don't even know her. So you should still continue to court her the same way you should pull her chair out. It should come with you taking care of the check as well, which entails lead to the man choosing, if his pockets aren't in the proper position, the correct restaurant that he can afford to care for you in the date during your first date. So that's just my opinion.
I agree with that.
And what I mean by here, BITCH, is because if we go on the first date and you expect me to pay first and you just sitting there all putting your lip gloss, that's gay.
Okay. Next.
I agree.
Next.
She said it. Right. I agree.
I agree on who asked to go out.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. If I called him and said, hey, I want to take you out, then I'm going to treat because I asked you. But if he called and asked me,
I got an extra question.
I got something to say.
That's valid.
I got something to say. I'm not never asking the dude, can he go out on no date with me?
Okay.
I'm just not.
But I got a question. Do y'all think it's weird for a woman to chase a man?
No.
I think it's hard.
Not chase, but pursue.
No. I'm not never pursuing nobody.
I don't think that's a woman's nature. She's never in her feminine energy chasing a man.
Yeah.
We weren't built for that. We weren't built on earth to chase a man ever. It's not that. However, you will absolutely attract a man, but chasing him, absolutely not. It gets
desperate.
It gets desperate.
Yeah, Desperado, Rihanna.
Just be by
Listen
yourself.
to that song, Desperado.
However, I think it's a chase once you're in the relationship, though.
That's different
from a woman when you're in it, but not the initial start. Hell no.
I
might like you. I might think you're the shiniest diamond in the room.
I still ain't chasing you while we in a relationship. I'm just, I guess I'll say I'm a reel you in like a cat, like a big catfish.
Yeah.
I'll reel you in, but I'm not chasing you. But I know how to hook that shit though. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead.
What you think, L? L, you answer because you ain't saying nothing.
You got a great man.
Go ahead, girl.
Hey, Mama is the best right now. Her
Yeah,
commentary is
her
making
commentary,
my
I'm
day.
saying.
It's the best.
So me personally,
That's why our birthday is
I have paid in certain instances
on the first date.
On the first date, no.
Well, that's what
we asked for.
So, but have I ever asked somebody out? Do you want to go to the show? And I ain't never did that, so that's foreign to me. I can't. I'm not.
I thought you were just saying you have, because
I paid for a date though.
She said she paid
But
for a
not
date,
the
but
first
not
date.
the first date. Yeah, so that's the big, and I think that makes the difference, right? A first date versus dates.
what did y'all man? Go ahead.
I mean, it's in a man's nature. He's gonna pay on the first date anyway.
Yeah.
I was.
Really?
To be honest with you, I always pay. I would
Pay every time too.
I pay every time. I was raised that way.
Yeah.
All right. I was raised. My pops. I seen him do that.
Yeah.
He don't have to talk. I watched. I saw. My pops always pulled his wallet out, take care of everything. I've known that majority of my life, and like you said, you court a woman. I'm showing you this is who I am as your man. I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna provide. I'm gonna protect. I'm a hunter, like you said. I get up every day and I go hunt. So I'm gonna provide and I'm gonna do what I do. That's just how it is.
You hunt every day?
Every day. Because you got to. I mean, because you're gonna be complacent if you don't.
I love it.
And trust me, I don't want to be.
Get cheated off your stump.
Because
when you lacking, somebody else coming right behind, ready to.
All right, y'all ready for the next question?
No, Dre gonna answer.
I'm sorry.
I pay all the time because presentation is everything. You trying to present yourself to what you want, so you gonna make sure she feel comfortable. And you wait like, then if you keep doing that and showing her that, maybe one night she be like, "Baby, I got it." because you done impressed her. And that's what we're trying to do is impress you. So we try to set up our presentation. But like she said, pick the restaurant you can afford. Don't be going somewhere where you can't afford it, trying to impress somebody. Don't go broke trying to impress somebody. Let her know off rip, this is where we going. You know what I mean? But don't break yourself because she gonna expect you to probably do that all the time. So you better be real starting off like this is what I can do for you. We can go here to this restaurant. And if she don't abide by that, like I don't like that, then you stay. But you always pay.
Should.
What you think, David? Oh, you want to answer? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sam.
We ain't heard from Sam yet. Damn.
Yeah, it's his turn.
You ain't heard me say that. Damn. Say it backwards.
Yeah, because I look at the initial interaction with a woman as an investment. Invest my money, invest my time, and invest my energy. So if I show you that I'm willing to invest my time and my energy, and I show you I'm willing to invest my money, I'm looking for some return on my investment. Not saying that you owe me anything, but I want to show you because I don't get nobody none of my money. I don't get nobody none of my time. I don't get nobody none of my energy for real. So if I interact with you and we have some attraction, I want you to reciprocate some energy my direction. I want to reciprocate some of your time. And eventually, I'm gonna want you to show me that you're willing to invest a little bread in a nigga and do something for me as well. Because if I'm not looking for a dependent. A lot of women and a lot of men set themselves up early in relationships by creating a dependency mentality. You know what I'm saying? And I'm willing to invest and show you that, but at the same time, I'm the cheapest nigga most people have ever met, regardless of what you see me with. You know what I'm saying? Because I value my time, my energy, and my bread. But I show you initially that I'm willing to fuck with you. But don't get it twisted. I ain't one of them niggas. Nah, we ain't about to do this. Nah, I ain't about to do that. Nah. I don't want to talk to you every day. And nah, I don't want to be around you all the time. But if we just meeting each other from the very first time, I want to show you genuine interest and show you in multiple levels that I'm interested in you. And then we go from there to try to see, are we willing to meet each other out on those branches? Because we all stuck on our trunk of our trees, and to fuck with somebody else, you got to step out on the branch. And if you ain't willing to come out on the branch with me, you can stay where you at. It's cool. I showed you I was willing to fuck with you, and if you want to stay there and be comfortable, all right, I'm cool. It was a small investment.
It was just if you
Damn, Sam.
Damn, Sam. I agree with Sam.
All right, next question. Would you combine all finances after marriage or keep them separate? Like when you get married.
When you get married, should you combine?
Would you combine your finances when you get married, or would you keep them separate?
I just heard you say after.
That's what the paper says. Somebody don't know how to.
I typed it up, but
somebody's grammar is terrible.
Woo! Shots fired.
It don't matter. I was doing 100 things at once.
Literacy skills.
It's all right. What's another question?
What's another question?
Okay, let me read them. Okay, if your partner loses their job, how long should the other one cover all the bills?
Is they married?
Yeah, we're gonna say they
married.
married.
No, they just together.
They just together.
It don't matter.
Shit. That ain't gonna last long. That ain't gonna last long.
What you mean? What that nigga is lost in, bro?
Somebody about to fall off. Somebody about to fall off.
Can't unmute your answer.
My bad, y'all.
Greg muted himself. Okay. But I was gonna ask Greg to answer that other question, but go ahead and answer.
Somebody about to fall off.
He's still muted.
Somebody's
I'm
about
trying to get him off mute.
Excuse me.
He muted himself, so
Somebody is about to lose. I'm about to lose you somewhere. You about to lose me. I ain't about to lose you. You about to lose me.
Is that right, brother?
If she ain't got no job,
you about to lose me so fast.
That's not right.
I know, right?
Damn. They do it to us all the time.
With the quickness,
They put us out there.
But everybody
y'all
got
are
these
married.
papers
You're saying in
right
a
here.
marriage,
And this is
you
the
the
question
person
that
you're
we
married.
We in the marriage.
So I don't have to do that.
That was just
All right, I'm done.
We just gotta whip your. We just gotta put. We just gotta. If we married, we just gotta put some more game in your gumbo, and then get you a better job.
okay.
And we ain't gonna trip off.
I want you to answer a question.
Motherfuckers getting fired.
Right.
I say.
I got Mel here with me too, girl. I got Cuz Jamel here with me too, Dave.
Yeah. I'm listening to everything.
Yeah. Okay. Now y'all was saying pretty much about putting funds together, accounts together. I feel like if you set a budget every pay period, say we're gonna put 150, 250 in the account together every pay period. We can't go wrong. But you should always have your own personal account as well. I don't mind having a joint account, but the personal account is for my rainy day. Yeah. And then you got your own for your rainy day. But if we got an account that we didn't put together, have to have a budget set. And I don't want to hear nothing about you couldn't meet the mark this month. Because see, you knew that this was a part of the plan.
Yeah, but stuff happens.
But carry on, though. I'm here.
Stuff happens. Okay. Maybe her job ain't giving her overtime.
We have a mark to meet.
All right, so okay, so the next thing is y'all can ask the women whatever questions that's on that paper, or y'all can ask the women whatever question y'all want to ask. And y'all just gotta.
I got one right here. I want to ask women. You ain't said nothing. Number 7. But,
Number 7. What is it?
Are you scared of commitment or just picky?
That's the question. That's questions for the women to ask the men.
Yeah, women. I'm backfiring this
no,
question on the y'all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm asking
But he's
women.
asking the question.
So are women really picky, or are they just really scared of commitment?
Well, I'm gonna answer what I'm gonna say.
I know you in a marriage and everything.
Right, but I'm talking about previous.
But,
so
I'm just saying. I'm reading it. I'm just saying. Are you scared of commitment?
No, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say how I felt about.
Let
period.
me
I'm gonna
finish
be
it
honest.
though. Let me finish it, cuz I got you. Hold on. Are you scared of commitment or just picky? But what I'm asking women is, are women really down for commitment or they just picky?
Well, right. That's what I said. So what I was gonna say, women are picky and they don't want commitment sometimes because sometimes women are used to being single and because they dealt with certain things where they're picky and they might not want to be committed to that person. Also being picky, you could be multiple things together. So if you're both, it's gonna be a situation where you're gonna have a hard time being in a relationship because you're picky and you don't know if you want to be committed to nobody. So you got to think about that. Men like that too. They might like somebody, but they picky and they don't want to be committed. I mean, you can do both. Some people are like that where they're both. So it's hard for them to be in a relationship. That's my take on it.
Oh, number 1.
You just picky.
Number 2, picky.
Picky.
Are you picky?
Am I picky?
Yeah.
Am I choosing?
Are you single?
No, I'm married.
Are you married? That's your husband? Okay.
See, don't match it.
Was you picky?
You asking me now?
When you were single, was you picky?
Right.
Yes, I was.
It's like when we were single, we could talk
I
about
was very picky because I had to choose who was gonna fit me.
So, in your opinion, are all women picky?
Some women are not, and the reason why I'm saying I could say some women are not, because it's a lot of women that deal with the bull just to have a man.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out about women. Why would a woman sit in an abusive relationship? You see what I'm saying? Because it's deeper than that.
Sometimes
it's more
it's
women
psychological.
in abusive relationships than you think.
Yeah, it is, but it's psychological because you got to remember some people are vetted in that because they were raised in it, and so they only know that if you put a hand on me, that shows that you love me. Yeah. So that's why you see a lot of abuse.
I had a woman like that really forced me to try to put my hands on her, or even fight me, and I'm like, I'm cool, and she kept doing it because she was in an abusive relationship when I first met her. And then when I was trying to get some space, they wanted to put their hands on me. And I'm like, I'm cool, just go on, get out the car. And they kept doing something.
Because they wanted to provoke.
Right, they wanted this just because some women feel like if you put your hands on me and you do that, you lose control that you care about. Because when you treat a woman like, well, you can go, they feel like you don't care. You be nonchalant with a woman, they don't trust, they think you're not interested. Even though you just might not be on the energy they on. They naturally think that you're not attracted to them because you refuse to entertain certain things because what their trauma has got them accustomed to. I've seen that. You know what I mean? So yes, you're right. It goes in that direction, but you know, is it healthy? No.
Picky to me is basically a form of dating multiple men. You don't have to have sex with it, but you're basically trying to attract somebody that is compatible to your energy. I wouldn't say that we're picky in a kind of like in a negative way, but it's about choices. And we as people, we don't date multiple people. We get hooked on one person instead of, it's like window shopping, or it's like going shopping. You want to look for some jeans in 3 or 4 different stores.
And getting the wrong pant size. And getting the wrong pant size. So let me tell you what I think is going on. I'm silly too, y'all, so y'all gotta forgive me.
No,
This is what I think is going on. You know how you can breathe? Oh shit, here I go.
Go ahead.
You know how you can breed pit bulls and you have good pit bulls?
Thank you, Ma, save me.
And you have mutts.
Yeah.
If you breed the wrong pit with the wrong dog, you'll have a mutt.
Right. Yeah.
Next question. Come on, we gotta get through it because we got a few more minutes.
So if you breed with the wrong person, you might have
a mutt.
You right.
I ain't saying.
Oh, the camera got messed up now, so everybody ain't on the camera no more. I think Mom hit the camera.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt nobody, but I must say, I done seen some mean ass mutts back in the days. Nah, but seriously, all jokes aside, man, you definitely have to make sure that you mate with the right person. There's so much going on out here, man. Hell, motherfuckers is barely getting by with the people that they love. So you want to do it right. Man. But carry on.
You can, I don't care what environment you put them in. You can't find genetics. If they come from a long line of hoes, they might just be a hoe.
So can I ask the men a question? What's the real reason why the men follow so many women on social media and Facebook?
I'll answer that. Because it's entertainment. That's all. We can't do nothing with all y'all. We don't want to. But it's entertainment. It is what it is. Y'all are beautiful creatures. And we love to see y'all. But we don't want to do it to y'all. We just like looking at y'all. I promise you.
But they be on, is that, you can't die.
It's everywhere.
It's a whole bunch of that stuff. It's a whole bunch of that.
Right, and that's what
it's more women than men.
And here's the thing too. That's where the imbalance is coming in at. That's what we don't understand. The imbalance is coming in is more men falling off than women. So there's mass women but no men. Right. So the imbalance is around and everybody looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on?
So do you think it's an unwritten rule? Like once you in a relationship, like do you think that social media following is like an unwritten rule? Like that you shouldn't accept, like going forward, right? Because obviously people have lives before they enter relationships. Mm-hmm. Do y'all, like as men and women, think that it's like a rule that you should know you shouldn't accept random women that's half naked on the internet? Same with men, same with women, right? You shouldn't accept random men on social media, or do y'all think it don't matter?
I'm gonna say,
let me answer that real quick.
Yeah, I don't think it matters because if you're not entertaining,
right?
If you're not entertaining, it's a difference between going to see ass on the page or whatever. This is like watching porn.
Yeah.
If you're not entertaining, if y'all not having a banter back and forth, you're not inboxing each other.
But how do you know, right? Because when you're in a relationship, no one's stalking their mate's page.
Nobody.
Like inbox stalking.
Okay, so
right? But you would have to have
for me,
information.
for me,
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I trust
I'll
my
focus on it.
Yeah.
and I'm a firm believer in the truth. Always come to the light.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Period. I don't care how much you try to hide it, finagle. The truth gonna always come to the light. You ain't gonna never be able to keep a lie or be deceitful. It's gonna come. It's gonna come out.
And so that's why you don't focus on that. Like that's nothing I would ever focus on. Is why he accepted this person, that person. The only thing is you don't know what they're doing, but that's not an issue. Like why focus on what they're doing? Why not focus on what you're doing and how he's treating you and what's going on? Because you will be able to tell if there's something going on after a while, like she said, period. It's gonna come out regardless of how long, what's going on. It's gonna eventually you would find out like, oh, you've been doing this. Because women don't know how to be quiet. They're gonna inbox you eventually and say
It might be
it might
be something on a humble.
It might be something on a humble, but women will do it because they be on that mess and they put their feelings in it.
Well, believe it or not, social media tell on them anyway.
But anyway,
they'll pop up random people.
I think a lot of men is.
Let's see him go real quick, Solomon.
No, it's cool. I was going to ask
go
a
ahead,
question.
Solomon.
I had a question. Y'all said ask y'all
Yeah,
questions.
we had the questions because we ain't got that much time.
That's why I had a question. Could each of you all on the panel define sexual expectations of your mate?
Sexual expectation.
Oh, that's
of your mate. Like what? How do you?
So we discussed it.
No, that was the question. Define. I would like the women to define their sexual expectations of their mate.
Now or back then?
Whatever. You just put whatever your perspective is in perspective, so we understand where you're coming from.
Right.
No, just however you feel in life, whatever excerpt you want to discuss or bring up for the audience, it's open for them.
I don't get the question.
I'll start. So, what do you expect from your mate sexually?
Oh,
sexual expectations of your mate.
I plead the fifth. But go ahead.
Can I make it?
Go ahead.
I don't think it's more expecting something from that man,
Right.
but you're telling him how you're going to be treated, how you're going to be made love, to what terms you're going. And it's not just sexually; it's intimacy as well. So we have to tell a man what we want, how we want to feel, what makes us feel.
We have to tell them that.
No,
We should.
I'm
I
saying
think they would know that.
Well,
though.
sometimes men don't know. That's the
Yeah, because
purpose.
all women got different kinks.
That's right.
Y'all
That's
different.
That's the
Y'all
purpose. That's the
Hey,
purpose.
hey,
That's the
can I elaborate?
When I get finished.
Now, I totally agree on that, telling the man, just, you know what I mean, in a sense, because it's good for you to remind us how not to be so aggressive with you. But at the end of the day, it's about your delivery. Now, when you deliver it to us, you got to make sure that you're giving it to us in an emotional, but giving type sense to where we okay with it. Because see, if you're giving it to us aggressively, then we're not going to accept it that way. It's like you're poking your chest out. And that's what's going to make us just want to say, never mind, man, we turned off of it.
Mm-hmm.
We catch up later.
No aggression. No, it's no aggression at all. It's,
Go ahead.
It's
Go
about
ahead.
the soft side and the feminine side of a woman. Wanting to be treated, with sweetness, kindness, love, affection. We miss that a lot. And some of us didn't even get it from our own mother and our own father. So it's not just having sex and penetrating.
Right.
It's a little bit deeper than that.
That's what I want y'all to dig into, because
right.
it's way deeper. It's just a shallow question, but at the same time, y'all understand the depth of sexuality in between.
One more time.
Sexuality and what y'all
Hold on,
perceive is what we want to
Okay.
sexually is what the different from what y'all need to give y'all sexual best. So I was trying to say what are the things that help cater to y'all to try to make y'all more motivated to do the things that you might want to do naturally, but say your man talk too much and he can fuck the mood up.
Right.
Say he don't know how to do certain things and he turn you all the way off. You might have had an idea like you wanted to do all these things, and then he come home with a stank, and now you don't even want to take him to bed. You don't even want to let you.
All you have to do is study your ladies' love language.
What you mean we came home with a stank?
Just not being able to leave, because as men, we deal with so much outside the home. And sometimes we come home with carrying this shit that we just got involved in, and then we bring that on our mates, not necessarily always intentionally, but sometimes we don't know how to leave our shit outside the house. I suffer from this, and I still do. Sometimes if I'm having a fucked up day, I can't help but have a fucked up face and have fucked up energy, and my wife might say, "How you doing?" and I'd be like, I'm okay. Then from that, it drains the energy out of her.
Can I go one time? Yeah. Let me look at it like this. All right, the day will give you a shitty mood, but you ain't never supposed to go and take what's going on outside of your house and bring it inside the house as a man. That's a duty. That's your duty to do that.
That's a learned trait, though.
Hold on. Let me finish. Okay. If you ain't learned it already, you tripping. One thing for sure, two things for certain, man. We 50 years old, right? I'm 50. I don't know how I hate 52. But damn it, I feel like I'm 25. Because the same shit that I was thinking when I was 25, I think the same day to now. So remember what I'm saying. When demons is walking around outside, like I got fired from about 5 jobs in 2 years, like right. But anyway, long story short, you ain't supposed to bring what's going on outside back into the house. You're supposed to let that shit go.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So look.
Disrespect that shit.
So I'm on veggie bag. Off of what my husband said about how we can have our mates know about us. Period. Women are mental. It's a mental situation for us. She don't work if this shit up here ain't right.
That's facts.
So for us, being realistic, our foreplay with y'all is all day. Exactly. The energy that y'all give us is the energy that, you know what I'm saying, we feel. We feel that shit. No matter, we feel y'all shit. Right. So, because we the closest thing to y'all, we swapping energy on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
So if there's a situation that occurs with us throughout the day that's less than desirable or makes, you know what I'm saying, that rubs us the wrong way, and sometimes we don't have the ability or we not in the emotional state to communicate what the fuck this done happened, and we sit in it, hold on.
I'm here.
That affects us sexually.
True.
So what it has to happen is you have to understand that just because you might want to interact with us, what is our mental state? Where are we at mentally? Are we mentally available for you? You know what I'm saying?
So here's what's going on.
Okay, so
it's a woman question. I want all y'all on the panel to hit that.
So what y'all want to say about that real quick? Because we got another question for the men, and then we didn't get that much time. So
I agree with Els. You gotta romance me all day.
I agree with Els.
You got to speak sweet nothing to me all day. You know, you got to be my peace where I can come and I might be having a bad day. Just like I'm being your peace when you come home. You know, but to tell me when I talk to you, that's how I stop the whole move. Or when you talk to a person that's supposed to be your partner and they actually be like, oh, calm down. I am calm, but I want to get this out. So it might sound aggressive, but I'm calm. I'm just telling you my day. And I just want you to listen. But when you don't listen to your partner, That's a turn off. And that's an open door where you start going into the part of making that person question, should I be with this person? You know what I'm saying? But back to the question, you gotta romance me all day.
Let's take one.
Did I answer?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, well, on the end.
I think I think it's different phases in a relationship. I think it depends what you want to provide. Some women at the beginning, y'all may have amazing chemistry, and that's all y'all relationship is based off of. Whether no matter how you walk in the house, the sex still might be there and might be the best, right? And y'all serve each other. But again, it's different phases. I feel like in every relationship. And then there comes to the phase that the other women have expressed, which is once you get in that deeper, feeling and situation, every woman wants foreplay. There is not a woman on the planet that doesn't want to be respected all day. Like, even if you fuck up, right? So to Elle's point of, if your mental is off, right, nothing else in your body is working, that's all part of communication too. Because the man don't know what he just said or did to throw you off mentally. Right. Because we do feel so many emotions that we may feel this way today, but tomorrow it didn't faze me, right? And I still may be ready and on go because I got something in mind for you, right? It could be one of those things as well. So I just think it's different phases in every relationship for a woman. But overall, yeah, I think all points absolutely are valid.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. What question we got for the men so we can
I got a question. When y'all, because all of y'all done been in a relationship or married. So in your relationship, you give your word. How long do the woman supposed to wait until that word is met before she take it upon herself to do what she needs to do?
Where you go? Because this is the crystal question for real.
Okay, so Greg, go first, Greg, because he on screen.
What is the word? Well, I didn't understand that. Run it by me one more time, Mama.
Okay. You're in your relationship and you give Can you hear me, Greg?
You got low?
Okay, you're in a relationship and you give your word. How long do the woman supposed to wait for you to keep that word before she takes matters in her own hands?
Well, if the word was given, this should have been already executed.
So be realistic, right? What if you got tied up at work 2 days, you tired? How long does she have? Give a realistic time frame.
Okay, so life be lifing. So it all depends on what we're talking about. Now, if I say that we was gonna hit the road trip or something like that, and we had a set time to do it, but something came about, we couldn't do that, so we had to, postpone for a couple weeks. Even though I gave you my word that we was gonna do it that week, and we had to, do it later, it's still been done. So it shouldn't be too hard if you giving somebody your word to execute it. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Anybody? Who else?
I mean, same thing. Because it's already done. If I said I'm gonna do it, watch me do it.
It's done.
How long do she gotta wait to watch?
She don't gotta wait because I'm doing it.
She don't gotta wait. That's the whole thing. She don't gotta wait. Patience is key.
It's a process when it comes to black men as a whole, right? In my opinion.
Now, give me some ideas about my word. Like, what do you mean? It's got to be deeper than that.
I'll give you an example.
There you go.
I'll give you an example. Okay, I'm gonna use the household. You say
Okay.
Fix the driveway.
Yeah.
Example. Fix the driveway, or you say that, baby, I'm gonna go grocery shopping this week.
Mm-hmm.
Those type of things.
They should have been done.
Well, what about dishes in the sink? Like if you gotta wash certain stuff in the sink.
Nah,
They should have been done. It's only gonna take a few minutes. Life is too short. Execute. Give me something else for you to be mad at me about.
I'll say this. We got a lot of questions too. But I think that when it comes to partnership, you will know if you're in the right partnership with somebody. I mean, you're gonna know.
Sometimes when they're gonna build or whatever, they ain't never in the position.
But the reality is, that
y'all gonna match.
Like they said earlier, like it depends on what you're asking.
Right.
Case in point, I'm trying to get my garage resided. I tried to fuck with a black dude I met through somebody else I seen do my dude's house. He came out, gave me looked at everything, said, I got you, I'll do X, Y, Z. I said, all right, yeah, I ain't necessarily in a big hurry. I ain't got no time frame, but I want to take care of this for the women.
Right.
Crickets for weeks. Right? And so I reach out to them, still crickets. Right? Find somebody else, reach out to them. They in the middle of vacations and doing other shit, they gonna get back with me. So sometimes it's out of our hands. We're talking about things that involve other people. But when you're talking about something that don't involve anything but your mate, yes, you need a definitive time frame mentally. Be like, all right, but when you make those requests or try to get something done by your mate, ask initially from the beginning, how long you think this is gonna take, babe? This is something that's important to me. This is something that might bring me uncomfort if it ain't handled sooner rather than later. So I'm letting you know that this is something that, because y'all might have requests that are kind of superficial. That I could just kind of be like, she was just talking, and it's just kind of what it is. And I get to that one day. I'll surprise her with it out the blue, blah, blah, blah. But certain things, y'all have an expectation amongst yourselves. And y'all don't communicate that with y'all men. And then we be like, all right, well, we get it done whenever. Well, y'all think like, well, shit, nigga, I brought it up to you, and I want to get it done within a couple weeks, and because I brought it up to you. And we like, that ain't a big thing in our world because our scales weigh different. What's important to y'all at 500 grams might only be 100 grams to us. So our scales weigh differently from the same product. You know what I mean? So we got to respect that and understand the scale difference and try to get more better with our communications as far as what we realistically expect from the mate. If you think you got a deadline in your mind or do you got in the beginning, don't let me know like it's something I just want to let you get to. And I'm dealing with parental shit. I'm dealing with kids shit. I got all these things. My business is going in a certain direction. I got all these things in the fire. And you ask me for something and you don't let me know how important it is to you. Because if it's that important to you, that if it's a real man that's in your life, he's going to reprioritize his life to put your things in a certain area to get it handled because he cares about your comfort. You know what I mean? But if y'all don't let us know how important an issue is to y'all, like y'all might say, I want to get this done, but to act like it's kind of nonchalant, just say it in the middle of a conversation, don't say nothing else about it. We might not take that shit seriously. Okay. We might be like, we get to it when we get to it. I heard you. But it wasn't a whole lot of importance to it when we heard it from you. But in your mind, you might feel like it's something high on your priority list. Because you said something, we supposed to acknowledge that and do this and all that. We like, she said that in the middle of nothing. And we just kind of cook it as, okay, I hear you. And I'm going to put that in my peripheral as something to accomplish eventually, but not necessarily with a specific time in mind.
Like, I believe in one thing. My word is my word. I believe in that. I stand on it. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I live by that. So, you know what I mean? It does help if you say, hey, this is what time frame I need.
I'm thinking. At least thinking, because they don't
but like you said, that's communication, but I believe in keeping your word. That's a big thing. And just any relationship, like if you say you're going to do it, do it. Right. Because I know you expect that of me. I expect the same thing of you. You know what I'm saying? You think you can do it, let's do it. I don't like playing games.
Right. But sometimes when you involve other people, that's the scary part. When you can't do it yourself. When you got to call somebody else and depend on them and they spin you and they give you different things, but yet your mate has a mindset of where they want to get something done. It's kind of, damn, where my tips at?
That's L.
I know what it is. I'm going to charge her when she get home.
So,
y'all make me sick.
We got one more question that we want to ask, and then y'all can ask us another question, and then we can wrap it up. It says, it was something else I wanted to ask, though, but I'm going to ask this. What's a compliment, Ask us something else. Don't do that. I'm going to ask this real quick. I got another one though. What's a compliment from a woman that stays with a man with you guys forever? Like a compliment that you got that stays.
I'm just happy with a compliment
with you. Like
I'm serious.
I like it when she say I'm handsome.
I'm happy with a compliment.
I be like that.
I'm saying that stay with you, something that was
what?
Nothing, just everything. You
I mean, most people, I get the same thing with you. Oh, you got nice eyes. You have eyelashes.
Women too.
Like, you know what I mean? I get that all the time. But like, when somebody says something like, "Oh, you're a genuine person," or "Oh, you got a beautiful heart," or that type of stuff like that, I'm cool with. Like, you know,
that makes me.
But I be happy just get somebody to be nice. Shit.
Hey, bro.
All right.
Okay, bro. Hand me down.
You handsome and I'm smart. Oh my God.
Man,
I'm milk.
Okay.
Man
So this is the next.
Gosh, you didn't hear what he said.
What you say?
She said mine was when she said I was strong.
Oh.
That I can get through anything. And I used that after my divorce. Remember, you said I was strong. That's why I made it. Because of your words. Even if we are divorced, I remember that in our marriage that you told me I was strong, and it came back to my remembrance, which made me do better. So
I think a big thing for men is being appreciated. We do so much that necessarily y'all kind of take for granted because we do it naturally.
Do y'all really? Because I think that's
Look,
the
he's
stretch.
clapping hard as hell.
I think that's the stretch. I think men love to say that.
No, I mean, but I
think men love to use their cape.
I mean,
they do a lot.
But I mean, I can't speak for nobody, but everybody who know me, I'm speaking for me. And I'm a first round draft pick. We just met. I'm 52 and I've been ahead of my class. I've been on my shit. I've been a different breed of person. You know what I mean? So what other lower level niggas do that, I'm not the bottom feeder.
However, I'm with you, brother.
So for me, you know, like a lot of the stuff that a lot of y'all suffer with, the people I dealt with casually would never even experience through me, let alone somebody I put energy into. Like, cause being different, I'm naturally a certain type of way, so I don't understand the problems that y'all experience per se. I feel y'all discomfort and pain, but I don't know nothing about that shit because a real nigga, like, if for my shoes, ain't never did X, Y, Z and don't understand X, Y, Z, and it would never put you in those positions as who I am. So I can only speak for myself. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being said, like, everybody don't fit the criteria of bottom feeders because some people you might think that they ain't a bottom feeder, but to top notch people,
what's a bottom feeder? I mean, because you said
somebody bottom feeders like catfish. That's like somebody who just was kind of just there in their face, and they you know what I mean? Like, cause for real, if you shopping
bottom feeder?
No, I never said that. I'm saying some men and women. Yeah, they just
bottom feeders are the allergy eaters and the crabs, man. The lobsters and the allergy eaters are the bottom feeders. They are the roaches of the sea. That's the allergy eater. that's your bottom feeder. They that iron.
Don't eat off the bottom. A hunter eats something that's live. A hunter does things differently. So as being a hunter naturally, you know what I mean, and dealing with looking for, say for instance, you might be sitting there lame as a duck and ready to get ate, and I walk right past you, and I'm a apex killer, but you won't excite me. I could grab you up and do whatever I want to you and chew you up and spit you out, and that'll do nothing for me. I'm looking for something on the upper echelon. I'm just looking for something, right? Because I know where I'm at. We can't do nothing together if you don't got nothing to get me. Because women are used to dealing with lower level mental and spiritual people that when they get with somebody who really on their A game, they intimidated and they really don't know how to function because they so used to have a certain level of overance of a person. You know what I mean? Where they always looking at the people who trying to court them or be involved with them from an upper level and looking down. Like, are you worthy of my attention? Are you worthy?
Man, drop the mic on them. Drop the mic on them.
Everybody ain't on that level. You know what I mean? You meet certain people and you be like, because I've had I wave my hand when I was single. I used to wave my hands in front of a person's face and say, I'm not what you used to. Let me reintroduce myself. I know what you're accustomed to and what you might think that what comes with this. But I am a different breed. Regardless if I'm similar, similar don't equal same. And I come from, and yes, I'm a hood nigga, and yes, yeah, I did, and yes, I can do this, and yes, I can do that. But just because Evanston, just because I don't do these things, you know what I mean? Like, don't make me less than or more than, because I don't want to be no more than who I am. You know what I mean? And some women ain't accustomed to that because they used to be trying to be impressed and wine and dine and motherfucker jump through hoops to try to be like, cause she's a bad bee. She's an independent woman. I gotta do more. You should be enough as a man to walk up to Holly Berry and be like, what's your number? Nigga, I ain't been in a movie in my goddamn life. I ain't never been in front of a camera, and I ain't got a decimal to my motherfucking name. But I'm confident enough to say, like, I know I'm $1 million nigga with $10 in his pocket. And I ain't scared to shoot my shot and be who the fuck I am because I believe in me. And a lot of men and women don't have that confidence in themselves to be like, we all need more self-worth. To be like, I'm a product, whether it be in a relationship or whether it be in a job or whether it be anywhere in your life. Like, I bring value to any environment in which I bring myself into by choice. If I come into a job, I'm worth something. Raises from the day at my interview. I'm asking about more money before I get hired because I know my worth and I bring something to your company. I bring something to what you got going on, and the same with relationships. I know you out here doing this and doing that, but I know my worth, woman. I ain't call you a B, but I know my worth, and I ain't got to blow my horn or whatever. But you used to dealing with bottom feeders, and I'm so far from that. I don't need your car. I don't need your house. I don't need your money. I don't need nothing. I don't even need your pussy. Pussy is easy for a motherfucker who got something. But for motherfuckers who really ain't got nothing, it's hard for them to try to impress somebody. But when you got something, and it's hard for you to keep it to yourself because everybody see when you come in a certain type of way, they're like, damn. And you humble with what you got, it's there if that's what you want. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we have to set our values a certain type of way. We got to set our morals a certain type of way. We got to set our self-value a certain type of way and seek our levels. If you think you are top notch, why are you settling for somebody in the middle and hoping they get better one day?
Well, that just says they don't know their self-worth and love. So it's exactly what you said earlier.
It might drop.
Yeah, that was it. And
I'm sorry, I talk too much.
No. What you got to say, Greg? But yeah, you got anything to say on that? Because he might drop on that. He dropped the mic. Whole lot of shit.
Hey, he kicked ass. I ain't got nothing to say about that. I'm with him. I'm with him the whole time.
Okay. Me too, brother. All right.
I'm sorry, it ain't my podcast. I told you I was trying to be quiet.
It was yours tonight, buddy.
Shit, talk your shit, boy.
It was yours tonight, Doc. Keep it coming. I'm rooting for you.
So, question for y'all before we get off of here. What question do you, Greg, or do he have for the women that you want to ask the women?
Okay. You know how, like y'all was saying earlier, how situations when you first get into a relationship and things may happen, and you know everybody that fire just it be, you know, just like magical. Why in the fuck it doles out so quick? Excuse my language, but what happened? What it be?
Both parties don't continue to do the things that they used to do in the beginning of the situation. People get comfortable and get complacent, and they stop doing shit that they was doing in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you do.
They ain't getting on tabernacle on the side of the couch in the living room or on the kitchen table and none of that shit no more. It's missionary in the bedroom every other Thursday.
Then I feel then I say sometimes life be life, and so sometimes people might y'all so silly.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Hey, one more question, if you don't mind. My brethren want to ask a question. It's Jamel.
Real quick.
Hold on.
Let us finish answering that real quick.
That was correct.
Hold on. I'm gonna say
That was correct.
the reason why women stop doing it or the relationship died down is because both parties maybe have certain things that they're building, and when you're building, sometimes people don't have that much time to be having sex every day, all day like they used to, because they're building things and they're working more and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they may be to that situation where they like, okay, let's get comfortable, let's get this done, let's get that done. We do what we do, but it ain't gonna be like every day like it used to be, like because we trying to build things. If that's all a person is focused on all the time is sex, what are y'all getting done?
Hey, one more. Can I rebuttal on that? And I ain't gonna be that serious about it, but not to cut you off. Now, do y'all know that a quick 5 minutes will make a man do more than what the hell he was capable of doing? Do y'all know that if you invest that quick 5 minutes, he's gonna take care of you and everything else around you in his business?
Yeah, so I think a lot more men need to take the load off women too, right? Because responsibility.
That's why I say he's gonna take care of you in his business.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you said the drop off happens because responsibilities change.
Okay.
At a person. And so if you want those 5 minutes every day, then you
No, it ain't got to be every day because see, we got things to do. But y'all got to be willing to be on site when that man is ready to be on site. Y'all can't just say, hold up, later. You can't do it later because see, he needs you right now. I don't care if it's 2 days out the week. He needs you right now. You got to be willing.
And vice versa.
We call it neglect.
We got to get ours out too. We have to release as well. And you got to be willing when you don't feel like it, or you tired, or you just came from cutting grass and doing X, Y, and Z, and your member might not be cooperating. You got to be
make it work then.
No, because we got to release like that. That's the job. If you want us to get the gummy worm together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, tell me you love me and make it work then.
You're gonna have to go ahead and get some of this hot pocket on your face.
It's okay. Tell me you love me and make it work then.
Why are you there?
We women.
You're becoming a man.
Oh. It's golden down their thighs. Golden
Calm it down.
Okay. Hey, I got a quick question. That quick question. And it's not my question. It's from my brethren. I'm gonna talk for him. What was it? Say, why is it?
When a female come in a man's life, when he got, a lot going on.
Hold on, I'm gonna let him talk, man, because I've been drinking and I've been smoking. Hold up.
No, I just want to know, like, when a female come in a man's life and you know, he got a lot going on and, you know, got his own or whatnot, they get very intimidated. Why do they get intimidated?
He talking about when women are
When he
bottom feeders and they meet somebody who actually on their game, who ain't what they're accustomed to.
He didn't pick accordingly.
You know what I mean? He talking about a woman. He talking about a woman, like a woman who's used to dealing with certain type of people, and him being a certain type of nigga. He address you. He don't know you from Tom. He don't know you from Thomasina or Kathy or nobody. He don't know you. You know what I mean? And he approach you, and he comes a certain type of security. What makes it difficult for you to try to get comfortable?
She said he picked wrong. You didn't ask those hard questions, baby. You got to ask those hard questions in the beginning so you can choose right.
That's right. I think men get so distracted by the shiny diamond
that
they forget the substance.
And that jiggly wiggly.
Okay.
And they find it the cutest zirconia. Right. Sitting on
we like that. We like the shiny. We go for the shiny diamond. We go for the shiny diamond every time.
But it used to be, it was a woman thing. We used to go for women with the shiny, with the ice and the nice cars and things like that. Now we not, but the times have changed and genders and roles have switched. You know what I'm saying? And now it's the men out here with certain females and things, and you know what I'm saying, in front of them, and they expect, you know what I'm saying, everybody to appear this way or be this way. Not saying that y'all, but there's a whole bunch of shallow men out there. That's the reason that a lot of these Instagram models is famous.
Let's take Marcel. It's gonna take 2 seconds. We as men and women, young and old, have to stop turning a good fuck into a relationship.
Amen.
That's a word. Okay.
Clock it.
That's true.
And that's kind of what's happening.
That's true.
You know, it's a lot of fucking.
That's what's happening in the world.
And then in the end, somebody getting fucked in the end.
Right.
Somebody.
So I think that if we, because I looked at sex as like basketball. You know what I mean? Like as men, we play 21. It one-on-one, we try to get a goal accomplished. So if I entered the sexual arena, it was because I was trying to satisfy you and you were trying to satisfy me on a sexual level. It was nothing more than if we talked enough to get sexual. Now, if we want to go more than the sex, then we have those conversations about expectations and the hard questions about, okay, I enjoyed that, but I like the way you do what you do. But if you ain't trying to be my mate, I don't want you to put mouths on my pussy. I don't want you to wear this motherfucker out because I like what you do and you do what you do. And I might let you do what you do on a regular basis. In the meantime, I miss my opportunity because I'm caught up in this physical moment. And if I like what you do and when I'm into you a little certain way, then you need to be like, all right, we need to draw lines in the sand because we played our game of 21 and it was great. We entertained each other. It was surface level, just grown people stuff. You know what I mean? But when you start getting into your feelings involved, conversations need to be discussed because when we first interact, from me being in my corner and you being in your corner, it's just recreation.
I think it's
and we need to respect the fact that I'm not, just because we do something I don't own you. Just because we interact with each other physically, I have no possession or control over you. You allowed me to enjoy you. I allowed you to enjoy me. So once we come to that level of saying like, okay, I like this a little more than just kind of frivolous fondling. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you about those things, and let's find this middle ground.
Hold on, Sally, go ahead.
Who here actually single? No one, right?
I'm single.
She's single.
She's single. Okay. Auntie's single.
I think it's a
man, they single.
I think it's a lot. It's a lack of understanding. I don't think it. I think when we engage in this physical activity, it's a lack of understanding. You know what I'm saying? You can't be giving me the eggplant like I'm your wife. I'm the only one trying to be the only one, and this is the, you know what I'm saying? You can't make love to me and expect my friends to get involved. You can't.
That's the truth.
I'm saying you have to be realistic as men.
But you gotta understand.
But you have to
But
be
what if that's the only way we know?
realistic and responsible as men and understand a woman. Period. We not made up like y'all. You can't give me dick, and I'm sorry, you can't give it to me like this, like I'm your only one. Like
You know what? That's why you should have kept it to yourself then, because you don't know how he's going to come.
Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. You can't give it to me like that and expect me not to lose my fucking mind. This is why y'all be having y'all windows bust out and y'all cars tires slashed. Y'all don't understand the makeup of a woman. You have to be realistic and be responsible with your shit. Have dick responsibility. Like we gotta have pussy management. Y'all need to have penis management. Y'all need to be specific with y'all shit and be understanding of that. When you don't understand that, that's when you get fucked up. You get caught up. And you want to know why she in the bushes stalking you in the daylight with a flashlight.
Right, because I understand that, because that was the reason why you know, we got to keep a line in the sand. That's why I brought up 21. It's not a personal situation. Like, I don't play you like my life depended on it. We just having fun. I'm not trying to pull you know, a nigga who try to pull all their tricks out and everything they got early in a relationship, and then you wonder why she get bored with you and don't want to fuck with you later, because you did everything you know in the first couple months. You ain't give her nothing to look forward. You didn't give her nothing. You didn't give her nothing to look forward to.
Okay, so we get wait, we let everybody talk. Hold on, we gonna let everybody talk.
To understand,
go next time.
when is the last time a perspective that actually came from someone who's actually been out in the pool fishing? This is my thing. You have to get a perspective from a righteous party, right?
7 minutes.
Who been in the pool? Y'all married. Here's the thing. This
was
is
in
how
the
they.
pool before
everybody's been in the pool before they got married, though.
How long you been since you've been inside the pool?
But it don't change.
I was in the pool for almost 30 years.
It don't change.
I just got married in the last 10 years.
The water.
I ain't been married 10 years. I was a happily single nigga. Like, niggas like used to look at me like I was a gold.
No.
What's the difference? Get to your point though, Solomon. Get to it, because I'm interested.
I'm trying to get to it, man. Actually, the point is, like, the pool ain't the same no more.
Oh, but what that got to do with?
Here's my thing.
We ain't got that much time.
This is how you fish now. You either fly fishing, like you said, with mutts, or what you call them bottom feeders, right? I call them mutts. You either fishing in the swamp, in the river, or you fly fishing. I've been fly fishing. So you fly fish, you got to actually fish in the water that's clear.
Put that camera on him, like,
it has to be clear. It has to be food. She has to be pretty. She has to be intelligent, and she has to have a lot of other things. I'm Dominus. I ain't going. You do something that throw me off, I'm gonna be like, no.
You single though, right, Solid?
Single.
That's fine. Go ahead. Put the camera on.
And here's the thing. I ain't fishing in the dirty water no more.
Put the camera on.
Back on with everybody. He
Stop
ain't fishing
fishing
in the water no more. That was
but
the water don't change.
As a person who really fished heavy, I fished heavy, and I was really particular. I threw a lot of things back because my hook attracted a lot. You know what I mean? Because when you got good bait, you get a lot. You be like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I know I got your attention, but at the end of the day, I got higher levels of what I'm looking forward to, because I like Beyonce. I like Mary J. Blige. I like
y'all fishing, but at the end of the day, like Elle said, you gotta have responsibility for that cat and that eggplant.
Right. And it costs,
And
right?
you can't just expect a woman, because a lot of
It
men
costs,
out here
right?
say, "Oh, women, she got a mile run." Y'all got miles run on y'all implant too.
Yes.
A lot of tracks.
All kind of energies out looking at shit.
So my whole thing,
Now
like
y'all got
Gail
3
said,
balls. Now y'all
have
got 3 balls.
responsibility. And when you don't have responsibility over that eggplant, you gonna have a woman in the bushes at daylight with a flashlight.
The competition gonna continue, right? This is the thing. People are breeding and they having bad babies. And they're coming out ignorant in the motherfucker. And now they're killing each other. And then now we sitting here talking about why black men is dying.
You know why that is?
Why? That's what I want to
People don't do their homework. No one does homework on anybody anymore.
Right.
They just too busy ready to go ahead and get, you know what I'm saying, jump on it. Don't nobody do homework on nobody no more.
Exactly.
Nobody call your friend and call your other friend or call your cousin or call. I know so-and-so stay in that neighborhood. Let me call her. You know about who it. Don't nobody do that no more. Don't nobody do that no more. Who your mama? Who your cousin? I know your uncle.
We got 18-year-old babies having kids.
Yeah, don't nobody do that no more. They
Everybody's
hypersexual. Everybody's hypersexual.
We had a dude walk up.
They need to bring the white patients back.
We had a dude walk up, shoot a woman in the back downtown. I'm from over the Rhine. I would be right there on the block where the young lady died. Fuck all that old woman. We had a black man walk up on a sister and shoot her in the back.
Oh, that young lady. Was this recently?
Killed her dead.
Right. But
who baby is that?
No, right. I like a comedian. His name is T.K. Kirkland. Shout out to T.K. Kirkland.
Come on,
because he has a statement that's really relevant. Who raised you? Like at the end of the day, like you got to look at like you just because I try to be compassionate to people who don't know, because I was blessed to have a father who had wisdom that was the baby of 13. You know what I mean? So he got to see a lot of stuff, and he shared a lot of game to me. And my mom was a baby, and she gave me game, and she lost her eyesight, so she gave me game from a different perspective.
Right.
So I got game from different levels of just understanding cerebrally and understanding from a street version. You know what I mean? And a lot of people lack understanding and willing to find that. We just accept so much. We accept shallow surface level information and surface level understanding of a subject,
so what's the
person,
cure?
Education. Right. It's just understanding
Stop
that.
being shallow.
Right, because if you would,
So what's the cure to that? Financial freedom.
No, if you search, if
financial freedom,
if you searching for bass, you understand that the bluegills are 1.5 to 2 feet deep in the water. You understand that catfish might be 7 to 10 feet deep in the water, depending on how you fish it. If you looking for bass, you got to find that 3.5 foot to 7 foot depth and become a real fisherman. Because when you a real fisherman and you know what you're targeting and you understand what you're looking for, you just ain't heard it from somebody. You just ain't looking at videos. You ain't just dreaming about what you think a real live 10-pound bass is and where they lurk at work times of the season and how they interact. So it's like understanding is understanding the depth of what you fishing for and what you looking for, because bluegills are between 1 and 3 feet from the top of the water. Catfish are at the bottom of whatever the fuck you fishing at. Whether you got a 20-foot lake or a 10-foot lake, you fish on the bottom for catfish. Some people like catfish fishermen. I know friends that they go spend weekends searching for catfish. I say, I don't want to just throw my line out there and wait for something to get it and within a weekend. So I'm actually actively fishing for something that's in that happy middle. So I ain't got to float on that 1 to 3 feet. I'm in that 3.5 feet to whatever the bottom depth is.
Okay, we gotta get off of here. So Greg,
I'm
unmute
sorry.
your phone real quick. Unmute your phone.
I'm halfway deep on my fish.
Yes, ma'am.
What you got to say before else? Because we about to get up out of here.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. I got so much going on over. I've been hearing bits and pieces, but I've been working on something totally different. I love y'all, man, and I'm here to listen. So keep it running.
We appreciate you, G. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you already know for sure.
We need you on Mondays. We need you on Mondays. Don't be acting like we ain't looking for your energy, bro.
Listen, man, I plan on showing up to the show, man. You know what I mean? I got a lot going on right now, bro, but I'm definitely gonna be back in the building. You know what I mean? I enjoy it every trip, man. Shoot. The atmosphere is unmatchable. Shit.
Don't neglect what you bring over the phone. If you can call in and just bring us some energy and some information and just your perspective, it'll be greatly appreciated on Mondays. And that's
for sure.
Out there that's got a genuine perspective that they feel solid about. Don't wait till these Wednesdays and Fridays and these odd days to not come in Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, normally the only people that call in is women.
Yeah.
On Mondays.
Yeah. And we tired of them kicking our ass, man, because we better than that. So I'm gonna definitely be back in the building. Shit.
Get on Mondays and bring your peoples because we need more men energy on Mondays because sometimes we get attacked from cellularly. We need to call in and just bring your energy and your perspective and thoughts and just respect it. And I'm gonna shut the fuck up because I talk too much.
All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in.
For sure.
I got a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wait, we who won the challenge game? Ain't being silly because we don't know who won.
Ladies, y'all won. We give up. We can see it. Y'all win. Because y'all perspective from feelings and we just thinking.
We gonna do it.
Y'all feel we think it's okay.
Y'all gotta be able to handle it.
Hey, you know what, sis? Hey, Hush. Yeah. Ask Mama who won. She gonna be honest with you. Who won, Mama?
I'm gonna call you as soon as he lives. Okay.
On everything, all the questions, I love the women's perspective. And it's not because I'm a woman, that's what I heard that really impacted me. Even though what was there was very impactful with some of the thoughts and things he said, but our sisters are sisters.
Hey, Mama, listen. I love you dearly, but it sounds like you sugarcoating it for them girls over there. We're gonna be honest. All that wisdom. I know you know what you heard. The fellas stood up for sure tonight.
Well, the fellas always do, but the women do too. So I'm gonna pick the women simply because I said that from the beginning. I am a woman, and I think their perspectives were great. So were the men.
So everybody was amazing.
Everybody is a winner.
Amazing. Everybody was amazing.
Everybody is a star.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we broke even then. I'm gonna throw it in there and say we broke even. I hear your point of view, but I think we broke even. We stood on our own.
You always do. All right, so you always do.
Greg wanted to be a tie.
Yeah, it's okay. We just
let's do that. I think both of the perspectives was
amazing. Everybody perspective was amazing.
We appreciate everybody for tuning in, and most definitely make sure y'all tune in on Monday. Greg, make sure you know I've been telling you.
I know it, man. I know it. I've been dropping the ball. I got you.
No, you don't have to come up here because I know you be busy, but you could call. You ain't got to stay on long or nothing. They just be needing your help. With that being said,
it sounds like shade right there.
Hear me?
Sound like you shade right there.
But listen, at the end of the day, they do good by themselves. They do good.
Yeah, I'm sure they holding it down. Shit. They holding it down. Hey, Odie. Hey, man, you better start talking. Odie been holding. He been quiet on me.
No, my baby had to bounce real quick. That's why he ain't saying nothing. You know he.
Oh, okay.
He watching though, but he would have been.
Yeah.
And we would be arguing, so it's a good thing he ain't here.
Right, ain't that nothing? Shit.
But yeah, with that being said, shout out to Men Mondays, Women Wednesdays. Let's talk about it Fridays, Busy Ones. Start we all most definitely. We appreciate y'all, and we're gonna have to do a part 2, but I'm gonna need my brother to be up here next time. So
I got you, man. I got you. All right.
Peace out. We out of here.
All right, much love, family.
Yeah. Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Shorty twerking in the air, I thought she about to take off. DJ played this in the club, you know we about to take off. Light catches on my hand and Rich, I'm about to take off. Act a fool in my city, boy, you better take off. If you ain't playing hits like this, you need to take the day off. Spotters round here don't never miss, don't make us take off. We get it out the mud every day like it's a playoff. When the girls in the club, they always want to take off.
Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off. I done seen too many friends turn straight to foes, shit get cold. I done been down this lonely road many time before. I swear I'ma get this shit, I'm striking like a lightning bolt. They can't stop me, man, cause I run this now like the CEO. I get paid to take time off, I'm feeling like this PTO. I get this money, I'm feeling like a GI, how I go. Flyer than an astronaut, don't know what planet I might go. All I know is I'm a hustler no matter where I go. Flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Hop up in that new whip, hit that gas and watch me take off. Whole city really lit, outside the club we take off. Getting money every day, get that bag and watch me take off. Take off, take off, yeah, take off. Take off, yeah, flyer than a pilot, yeah, watch it how I take off. Getting money, yeah, time to get it, watch me take off.
Yeah, we getting paper out this bitch, yeah, taking off like a freight train out this bitch. Get off my track, don't get derailed, running with my clique. See, I'm all about that M-O-N-E while we super rich, Gangster from the sideline, pimpin', got me riding in my Lexus window tinted. Mind your business while we all up in the club, turned on bottles, plenty in it. While you looking at me stupid, cause we spending pretty penny,